4 American presidents have been assassinated, but John F. Kennedy's death at the hands of Lee Harvey Oswald is the one that still haunts many Americans. And even after countless books written about it, there's still so much surrounding JFK's death that doesn't make sense. When historians called Lee Harvey Oswald enigmatic, they're seriously underplaying just how mysterious he really was. There's a lot we don't know about the 20th century's most infamous assassin. We don't know why he did it, and we definitely don't know why he spent the weeks before the assassination hanging out in Mexico City. Mexico City in the 60s was to Cold War spies what Miami Beach is to spring break bros. As Professor T. Jeremy Gunn put it to NPR, the city was, quote, the spy capital of the Western Hemisphere. Cuban agents, Soviet moles, and CIA operatives all rubbed shoulders. That Oswald was for some reason hanging around them raises all sorts of weird questions. We do know Oswald partly spent his time in Mexico to try and secure a Soviet visa, but we don't know why the records of this are all screwed up. The day he visited the Soviet embassy just happened to be the day the CIA's camera broke, so we have no actual pictures. Perhaps the strangest thing about Oswald is that he didn't spend the run-up to Kennedy's death being tailed by the CIA, FBI, and every other department with an acronym for a name. Oswald was a defector. On October 16, 1959, he arrived in Moscow and wrote to the Soviet authorities renouncing his American citizenship. Eventually, he was able to secure a temporary stay in the USSR, and the KGB shipped him out to Minsk, securing him work in a radio factory. But according to Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Anthony Summers, Oswald wanted more than a job making radios. Oswald later claimed he'd offered the Soviets information on America's U-2 spy planes. Flash forward to June 1962, and Oswald was back in the States, this time with a Soviet wife and a newborn daughter. Yet the CIA never questioned him. The FBI didn't place him under surveillance.
Yeah, I did an ocular pat down and I cleared him.
Say what?
I'm sorry?
I'm saying that I did an ocular assessment of the situation, garnered that he was not a security risk, and I cleared him for passage.
Ocular pat down.
For whatever reason, a defector to the Soviets was given free rein to waltz around the country until he finally shot the president, and no one knows why. The Secret Service is known for being quick on their feet during assassination attempts, but in this case, they were curiously slow to protect the president. Perhaps it had something to do with the fact that the POTUS mobile had its running boards retracted, so his protection officers were further away than usual. But there was still about 5 seconds between the first shot, which hit JFK in the neck, and the second, which struck his head and ended his life. A high-speed response could have saved Kennedy's life, but driver William Greer didn't take evasive action. Paul Landis, following the Kennedy car, didn't jump on board and shield the president with his body. The Secret Service guy you see jumping onto the car in the assassination footage, that's Clint Hill, part of the First Lady's detail, fulfilling his duty to protect Jackie. It wasn't until after the second shot that Agent Speed finally hit the pavement in pursuit of the president's doomed ride. The bizarre aspects of the Kennedy assassination didn't end with JFK's actual death. If anything, things got weirder from there. The president's body was taken to Dallas Parkland Memorial Hospital, but it barely got through the doors before a fight broke out over who would perform the autopsy. The local coroner was a guy named Earl Rose. Since Kennedy died in Texas, he felt it was a state crime, that Texas law applied, and that he was responsible for doing the autopsy. However, as the LA Times recounts, the Secret Service and Jackie Kennedy disagreed. When Rose tried to physically block the Secret Service from the corpse, a heated argument broke out about the legal niceties of the situation. At some point, Kennedy's detail simply grabbed the body and took off. Kennedy's corpse was hauled away to the Bethesda Naval Hospital in Maryland. Perhaps as a result of this whole mess, there won't be any ambiguity if a president is shot in the future. A code passed in 1965 makes it clear that trying to take out the commander-in-chief is indeed a federal crime. If you've ever watched a detective drama, you'll know that long before the good cop, bad cop routine commences, a tape recorder is turned on and plopped on the table. But for some reason, that wasn't the case when it came to the interviews done with Lee Harvey Oswald after his arrest. There are almost no official notes of Oswald's questioning by Dallas police or the FBI. As the New York Times details, the interrogators didn't use a tape recorder and had no stenographers present to take accurate notes.
What do you think is happening right now?
Guys, it doesn't matter.
It's good.
Okay? You know, we'll sort this out later. It doesn't matter.
Our records involving the interrogation of the 20th century's most notorious assassin come solely in the form of handwritten notes made by the two interviewers. These notes are themselves rough and incomplete, offering only the tiniest glimpse into Oswald's psyche. If we had more detailed notes, it's possible we'd understand Oswald and his motives much better than we do now. Incredibly, we only have one set of these notes today because they were discovered among the personal belongings of a former police captain in the 1990s and anonymously donated. The notes are very clear on one thing. Oswald repeatedly protested his innocence, claiming that the images of him posing with the rifle used to kill Kennedy were faked. The full truth surrounding JFK's assassination is a source of fascination that has persisted ever since. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more messed up history videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.